I've got a funny old story to tell you of something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago, right? Involving the little house sparrow that I've rescued called Cheap, that can't fly, and these great big cliffs behind me. So it's quite a cool story if you want to stick around, right? Crazy. So every now and again when I'm out walking the dog, I put the little house sparrow on my shoulder and she sits on there, she snuggles up in my hood and she's quite happy there. And every now and again I put her down onto the ground for a little rummage around and a little dust bath. Just, you know, I feel bad with birds in cages, so I sort of take her out every now and again. And she can't fly, so she's quite safe with me. If some dogs come over, then I pick her up. Obviously she's good with my dog. Anyway, I'm up at the top of that cliff and on a promenade walking with a bird on my shoulder. And I've got my kids with me. And my oldest, she's 9, and she says to me, "Dad, don't go too close to the edge in case Cheap jumps off your shoulder over the cliff." And I went, "Oh no, she'll be all right." Now bear in mind, she's been sat on my shoulders for like 10 to 15 minutes, quite happily. Anyway, I'm at the top. I said to Millie, it'll be fine, she's not gonna jump. And I went about a metre away from the edge of that cliff up the very top that's all covered in ivy. And as I walked over just to have a little look over the edge, just because I'm nosy like that, she jumped. The little house sparrow jumped off my shoulder straight over the edge of the cliff and fell down the edge of the cliff like that. I felt absolutely awful, and she's fluttered her way down and landed in all the long grass that's growing up there. You see it all up there. And oh man, I felt so bad that had happened, like, because she will not cope in the wild. That's why I've still got her. She can't fly. She'll be predated on by a corvid, like a magpie or a crow, or even a fox, and in particular a cat. So she wouldn't stand a chance in the wild. She wouldn't last a couple of days. And my daughters are like, "Oh no, what are you going to do?" And she's over the edge of the cliff. And I can't leave my daughters there on their own. Anyway, ran home, got my ropes, got my harness, ran back. The kids are good. I've secured my ropes, I've abseiled over, and my daughter's gone, "There's Cheap, she's there." So I swung over on my ropes, grabbed the bird, got her in my hand like a real superhero. And with my other hand, I've tucked in my shirt. This is before I damaged my elbow. Tucked in my shirt, and I put Cheap down my top so that she was safe in my shirt. And I'm climbing back up because I can't go back round the long way up the cliff because I can't leave my kids unattended. So I've pulled myself up the cliff on my ropes using just my hands, which took some real doing. And someone I know who walks about there was very kindly lent me a hand. He put his hand over to help me up back over the cliff top. And as I stretched up to grab his hand, my shirt came untucked from my shorts and Cheap fell out of my shirt back into all that ivy across the top. So I rescued her and then lost her again. And now she's in amongst ivy that's over a metre thick, spanning the width of that. I've got absolutely no chance of finding her. So I'm swinging around, trying to look for her. My kids are in tears because we've lost the bird and the bird's gonna die if I don't find it. Couldn't find her. So we went home. I felt absolutely awful. I'd let my kids down, I'd let the bird down. Went home, had dinner, and then my wife says, "Right, I've got the kids, you go back out and look for that bird." And I'm thinking, like, an hour and a half's passed, I'm not gonna find that bird. Like, it's impossible. It's a real needle in a haystack. So I've came out, down the bottom, looking out for her, couldn't see her. And I've gone back up the top, couldn't see her. I mean, that ivy spans like 30 metres along there, and it's like 1.5 meters deep, and she's gonna be deep in there. So I had an idea, I know, I'll play the bird call of a sparrow. I've got an app that plays different bird calls. And I'm up there and it's purely silent, and there's oyster catchers and pied wagtails calling elsewhere, but I know what a sparrow call sounds like. So I'm playing the sparrow call on my phone, and guess what? Cheap responded. I'm like, yes. And I'm up there playing the call, and she's very slightly responding, and I'm needing utter silence to pinpoint where she is. And in that time, and I'm glad if you do see this video, but a couple of people came up to me and recognised me and started talking to me. And unfortunately, I couldn't talk to them. I said, "I can't talk. I've got to be silent. I'm looking for a bird." And the sun was setting. I just didn't have time to explain to people the mad thing I was doing. And those people left. And I felt really bad because I love it when people say hi and I try and take the time to talk to them. Anyway, she's responding. And after about 10 minutes of keep trying and trying, I pinpointed her to a rough location just by that tree over there. Got my rope set up, went over, and I'm over the cliff now, hanging there, playing the calls on my phone, trying not to now drop my phone. And I saw her. I laid eyes on her within the ivy. And I lunged in there with one hand and grabbed her. I couldn't believe it. And I unzipped my pocket on my coat, and I put her in the pocket and I zipped it up. And then I ascended and I went home and I rescued her. I had the bird and I saved her. So she made it back home, and she's back home now, running around my house, pooing all over my floor and my sofa. So she's happy and she's safe. But what a palaver that was, running around trying to rescue an absolute needle in a haystack up there amongst all that ivy. But I got her, eh? The things I get up to. So it was a good outcome in the end. Cheers, guys. Get wild.